So welcome everyone today to our webinar called Bite-Sized AI, an Introduction to Artificial Intelligence. We are so pleased to host this presentation today with ABC Life Literacy Canada to offer our educational session on really understanding the basic foundations of AI or artificial intelligence with our two speakers. They're going to tell us a little bit about what AI is, what it can do, its limitations, and how you can keep safe online. Our speakers will also explore PI AI, which is an AI tool that is designed to have meaningful conversations with users without users needing high digital or literacy skills. Hopefully by the end of today's session, you'll have more confidence and knowledge on how to use AI to support your learning, life, and work. I know I am in for a treat because it's sort of foreign territory. I have not really explored AI, and I'm really looking forward to learning about this today. I will introduce our speakers after, but we are joined by Ellie Tamura, who's a program specialist at ABC Life Literacy Canada, and Mansi Bhavsar, who is the workshop facilitator with ABC Life Literacy Canada. Before we begin, I would like to give our land acknowledgement. We acknowledge that we gather on the traditional territory of a number of First Nations and acknowledge their stewardship of this land throughout the ages. We seek a new relationship with the original peoples of this land, one that is based in honor and deep respect. So just a few webinar logistics. Everyone's microphones and cameras will be turned off for the session. We do welcome, as you know, people to comment in the chat box. If there's a comment or suggestion that you might have for other speakers or just in comment in general, please post that in the chat box. And if you have a specific question for our speakers that you would like addressed at the end of the session, please post that in the Q&A, which will be addressed at the end of the presentation. As I've mentioned, we have our ASL interpreters with us today. You can change the screen layout on your own computer by the little grid box at the top of your screen, and how you would prefer to see the presentation. If all the speakers or just the screen, that's totally up to you. And you can also enable or disable the closed captioning option as well. Just as a reminder, you will be getting a pop-up request to finish a survey just to give us your feedback. We also will send an email follow-up with the links to the website where the recording will be posted with the survey link if you hadn't had a chance to do that. We do appreciate your feedback. It gives us ideas of how we did, topics for future sessions as well. So we do appreciate you taking a few moments. It's only 6-7 questions, so it's really a quick check boxes. It's really helpful. And as you've noticed, we are recording the session. Hopefully I'll be able to get this loaded today, if not tomorrow. And any links that we share in the chat box and our speakers have shared, we will post that along on our website with the PowerPoint presentation, PDF, and as I say, the recording. As you know, this is a public forum when we do all of our provincial webinars, so we do appreciate this is a public forum, so we respect your privacy and confidentiality. If you have a situation that you would like to speak with us in confidence, please reach out to us by email or phone at which I'll provide our phone number at the end of the presentation, and we would be more than happy to assist you in a confidential manner to address any of your concerns or issues. And for those who are just joining us for the first time, or just a reminder that, you know, our vision really is to make sure that seniors are free from ageism, abuse, where your human rights are advanced, protected, and respected. And we do a lot of these educational sessions because we know how important it is to be educated and knowledgeable on these issues so that you can be aware of the actions and prevention tips that you can take to protect yourself and to advance your knowledge and assistance in the well-being. And in this case, we're talking about technology. So it's really important that we reach out and be able to provide this education to older adults and seniors in our community. We are implementing our role also is mandated to support the Ontario strategy to combat elder abuse, which is funded through the Ministry for Seniors and Accessibility. And we've been doing that since 2003. And with that strategy, we encompass doing education to training to frontline providers, as well as working collaboratively with community partners to implement many projects and initiatives to advance our work to protect the rights of older adults. So it gives me great opportunity now to introduce our speakers. So I'll first start with Ellie. So Ellie is a program specialist at ABC Life Literacy Canada, or short form ABC. Ellie used to, prior to working at ABC, she worked with a variety of adult and family literacy programs. She's very passionate about education and more accessibility in this area. She strives to support the development of love of learning in communities across Canada. And as I mentioned, she currently also leads the Connect for Learning program. So welcome, Ellie. And with her is her colleague Mansi, who's also a certified soft skills trainer and an image consultant. She began her career with Microsoft, working with their enterprise clients before pivoting to the learning and development area. And she has been working as a learning designer and facilitator for the past 7 years, and a workshop facilitator with the ABC Life Literacy Program for the last year and a half. So we are privileged to have both of these speakers with us today to share their expertise in this area. So welcome both of you, and I will turn the table over to you to start the presentation. So thank you.
Thank you for that lovely introduction. So I'm just going to share my screen right now. So give me 1 second. All right, is everybody able to see my screen? I'm getting some nods. Okay, perfect. All right, so hello everyone. A huge thank you for Elder Abuse Prevention Ontario for having us here today. As we've said, my name is Ellie and I'm a program specialist at ABC Life Literacy Canada. And I'm joined by my colleague Mansi, a workshop facilitator at ABC. So today we're going to present a workshop on bite-sized AI, an introduction to artificial intelligence. So you may have heard terms like AI or ChatGPT floating around the news recently, but maybe you aren't really sure what it is or what it can and can't do. But don't worry. In today's session, we're going to explore the world of AI in a way that's approachable, fun, and most importantly, easy to understand. Whether you've never interacted with AI before, or you're just curious about what it really means, this workshop will give you a solid foundation into this tool. So before we begin, we would like to take a moment to reflect the land that we are on. So we at ABC Life Literacy Canada recognize the many Indigenous nations who have lived and continue to live across the lands where we meet. We honor their care of this land and their relationship with it, and are grateful to be living and working here today. The land where ABC is based is on the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis. Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit. I'm grateful to live and work on these lands, and I embrace my responsibility in working toward decolonizing the institutions and spaces we all share. So here is a quick run through of what we'll do today. First, we'll do an introduction to ABC Life Literacy Canada and who we are. Then we'll dive into an introduction to artificial intelligence, otherwise known as AI. So we'll talk about what is AI, what can AI do, and what are some AI safety concerns. Then we'll dive into an AI tool called Pi AI, and we'll do a demonstration as well. If you have any questions during the workshop, feel free to use the chat box or the question box in the bottom right side of the Zoom to type out your question. So as promised, we'll begin with a brief introduction to ABC Life Literacy Canada. At ABC Life Literacy Canada, we envision a Canada where everyone has the skills and opportunities to fully participate in learning, life, and work. So we're really here to support Canadian literacy practitioners. We champion literacy in Canada by empowering adult learners, raising awareness, and by collaborating with and supporting the adult learning sector. So we are a lifelong learning organization, and we're always learning. All right. So if you don't have much experience with artificial intelligence, it might seem like something only people who work with computers use or need to know about. But if you use the internet, you've probably already seen it in action. So using the chat box, I want you to type yes if you've ever used a computer or smartphone to, wait 1 second, search for information. So type in yes if you've ever done this before. If you've watched a TV show or movie, maybe on Netflix or YouTube, wrote an email or sent a text message, or bought something online. So I'm getting a whole slew of yeses in the chat box and a thumbs up as well. So the apps and websites you use to do these things on computers and smartphones uses artificial intelligence in different ways. So even without knowing it, you've probably been exposed to AI technology already. So as you may have guessed, AI is short form for artificial intelligence. It refers to the types of technology that help machines, websites, and apps do things a person has usually done in the past. So this includes doing things such as solving problems, learning new information, and making decisions. AI technology collects information about how people use the internet. The collections of information is called data. So AI uses this data to look for patterns in how people use the internet. So now that we know a little bit about AI, I'll turn it over to Mansi to tell us what it can do.
Great. Thank you, Ellie. Can everybody hear me? Okay. Thank you so much. All right, so let's talk about what AI can do. AI has become an integral part of so many aspects of our lives, often without us even realizing it. So, what can AI actually do? Here are just a few examples of what AI can help you do. Search for information, make personalized suggestions, write messages, translate text, and also read text out loud. We are going to be looking into each one of these now. Let's look at how AI can help us search for information. Maybe you or somebody you know has searched for information online. Have you ever noticed that while you're typing, that Google will give you a list of suggestions? AI finds and follows patterns. Google uses AI technology to find patterns of what you and other people have searched for in the past to give you results that you might find useful. Let's try it. Together, let's type the beginning of a question into Google. You can try this on your own, or you can also just watch as we do it from our screen. Let's see all the different answers that come up. We are now going to open Google and type in, why are cats? Oh, wow. The first one is better than dogs. The second one is all the more interesting. Scared of cucumbers. Are they? I never knew that. Has anyone else been able to try this? We'd love to know what comes up for you. Feel free to put it in the chat for us.
Sorry, Mansi, I just lost my PowerPoint. Just give me 1 second to pull it back up.
No problem.
Is it possible to make your screen bigger, Mansi? Some people are saying it's just difficult to see the font.
Yep, can do
Thank
that.
you. Thank you.
Thanks, Ryan. Okay. Is this better now? Why
Yes.
are cats so cute? Nicole says. Okay. Yeah, that's something that you got at your end. Interesting. Yeah, everybody might see different things and different suggestions by Google based on your search history and the kind of things that you would have looked up before. All right. Let's look at something else that AI can do for us, which is get suggestions. Websites and apps make suggestions based on information they collect about what you do online. For example, an app that you use to watch movies, like Netflix, might collect data about what you've watched in the past. The app uses this data to suggest other movies it thinks you might like. I do want to clarify that Netflix isn't watching everything you do in your life to suggest movies, but it does look at other movies you've watched on Netflix. Or maybe when you're shopping online, the website may recommend other items you'd like to buy based on your past purchases. You can also see screenshots of a few suggestions on your screen. We are now going to launch a poll question on Zoom. Click on the answer that best represents how you feel. On a scale from 1 to 5, with 1 being you absolutely do not like it, how do you feel about websites or apps suggesting things for you to read and watch? So the poll should be up on your screens.
I'm going to give people maybe 20 seconds to answer this question before I release it. All right, I'm going to end the poll now and share the results so that everyone can see. So it's an
Indeed.
interesting distribution. I feel like
Yeah.
we've kind of got responses all over the place. So some people are really comfortable, some people are not very
Right.
comfortable.
Yeah. The highest percentage is I am somewhat comfortable, and I would have voted for the same, really. Anybody here who's comfortable sharing their opinion, their thought on why they picked what they picked? Okay. Why, in my case, AI is often wrong. Yes, that's a very valid reason. Suggestions are okay, but you may miss out on a variety of things. Oh, yes. Yes, that's true as well. Yeah. Sometimes you're just sucked into the suggestions and you do not get a chance to search for things yourself. And sometimes it's nice because it offers suggestions that I wouldn't have thought of. Somewhat because I know nothing about the topic, and I want to have other ideas to hone into the appropriate answer. Lovely. Thanks for sharing your thoughts. You want to do it yourself. Yes, a very valid reason again. All right. Thank you, everybody. Moving on, let's talk about AI and social media. Social media websites such as Facebook and YouTube collect data about what types of stories, posts, pictures, or videos that you click on. They use this data to suggest other things you might be interested in. For example, if you use YouTube to watch music videos, YouTube will remember what you've watched. So if you watch a lot of music videos by your favorite musician and you often watch videos of live performances, YouTube might share a live performance with your favorite musician on the front page of the website. You can also see a screenshot on your screen full of suggestions made by YouTube based on what you've searched for before and based on what you watch a lot of. All right, now let's talk about AI and writing messages. If you've ever written a text message on your smartphone or written an email, you may have noticed that you get suggestions for words or phrases to use. In the example email on screen here, after typing the word how, the words are you appear in light gray as a suggestion for how to complete the sentence. The AI in your email or text message app does this by following the patterns in the data they've collected about words you and other people often use when writing messages and communicating. Now, let's talk about AI and translating text. Some websites and apps use AI to translate words and sentences into another language. Translation websites or apps, such as Google Translate, collect data about how the languages work, common and unusual phrases, and other information about languages to translate text from one language to another. If you're interested in learning more about Google Translate, we have a lesson plan on that too. Let me go ahead and pop it in the chat for you. Oh, there you go. Ellie has already put it down in the chat. Thanks, Ellie. We can try this together. Let's look at some language that you speak other than English, and we can input a sentence in Google Translate and let's see how accurate the translation is. So anybody here who speaks a language other than English, if you want to put down the language in the chat for us so we can try it. Okay, we have Arabic, Reem. Let's go with Arabic, Ellie.
Let's do it.
Okay, there you go. Reem, how accurate is this translation? Okay, we got a heart as a reaction. It is correct. Okay, wonderful. Do we want to try one more? We have the second language, Hindi, so let's go with that.
ये एक सुंदर धूप वाला दिन है.
I speak Hindi, so I can say that's correct. What do you think, Dr. Asha? Okay, Dr. Asha says it's a little bit odd, which I agree because it's like literal translation. We might use different words to kind of convey the same meaning. All right, that was a fun little exercise, and you're welcome to check out the Google Translate lesson plan that Ellie has put down in the chat for us. Let us now look at the next thing that AI can do for us, which is reading written text out loud. Some websites and apps use AI to read text and documents out loud. The apps use voices that sound like a real person. It does this by following the patterns in how a person says different words, such as their tone, to make its voices sound more human and less robotic. This is a great tool that makes documents more accessible. For example, people with low vision, low literacy skills, or dyslexia can use this app to help them read online texts and documents. Natural Reader is an example of this kind of app. You can access Natural Reader on your computer, phone, or tablet. We have also got lesson plans on Natural Reader, which we will pop into the chat as well. We can actually see Natural Reader in action. So we're going to just open it up, type a sentence, and see how.
1 second.
Yeah, no problem. And see how it reads it out for us.
Dear T.
So basically, this is the screen. I'm going to make it a little bigger, actually, where you can pop in any text that you would like Natural Reader to read out loud. You can pop in website links as well. You can also drop in images and PDFs. Natural Reader will be able to read that aloud for you. So let's try. So I've typed in, I'm hoping for a warm and sunny winter, and I'm just going to hit the play button at the top.
I'm hoping for a warm and sunny winter.
And you can hear that they've read it out loud. It is a free service. You can change their voices, you can speed it up, you can slow it down. So there is a lot of functionalities to this piece. Okay, so I'm going to bring back my share screen.
Yeah, I really like how Natural Reader has this option of selecting the voices that you like. All right, let's move on and talk about chatbots now. Chatbots are a kind of AI technology. They're designed to feel like you're talking with another person online. You can ask a chatbot a question or get help with different tasks. They act kind of like a personal assistant. For those of you who were using Microsoft Word in the early 2000s, you may recognize Clippy, the paperclip, who used to try and help resolve issues for users. He was famously bad for not being very helpful, but he's a great example of what early forms of chatbots used to look like. We have definitely come a long way since Clippy. Now, let's take a look at what chatbots look like today. You can find chatbots in many different places on the internet. For example, there are chatbots built into existing websites. These kind of chatbots will often pop up as you start to scroll through a website. You can see an example on the screen here. This is a chatbot on Purelator's website. There are also websites and apps that are chatbots themselves. Examples of this kind of chatbot include ChatGPT and Pi. We will be doing a deeper dive into Pi later on. You can use chatbot websites and apps like these on a computer, smartphone, or tablet to get information, advice, and help quickly. Every chatbot is a bit different. Some chatbots are more helpful for answering questions or researching new information. Other chatbots are better for creative tasks, such as creating an image or writing a story. Now, here are some examples of what you might ask a chatbot to do. Chatbots can answer a question, such as, how many people live in Canada? Chatbots can write a story for us. Chatbots can provide suggestions for pet names. They can also give us information about a product or service. And chatbots can also get us a bus schedule. Now, using the chat box, what sort of things do you think you could use a chat bot for? So please feel free to put your thoughts in the chat, what you might have used a chatbot for, or what you think it can help you do. Okay, great for tweaking resumes and cover letters. Excellent.
I think I saw somebody early on say writing poetry. I heard that.
That's such a good one. Plan a trip. Oh, yes. I've actually experimented with this, planning a trip. Articles. Yep, they can help you write articles.
I also find it's really helpful for summarizing
Mm-hmm.
text as
Mm-hmm.
well.
There's a question from Suzette. Where do you find chatbots? So chatbots can be found as chat agents on many websites. For example, if you purchase something online and if you have a question about, say, the shipping costs, something like that, you can always, type into that and they can give you an appropriate response. Conversions, obtaining a recipe, that's a good one. That's a really good one. I can tell you from my experience recently, I used ChatGPT, which Ellie is going to be touching upon shortly. I used that to give me a list of organizations that could make use of certain new materials that ABC had produced. So that was something that was really helpful for me. So I could reach out to those organizations and make sure they knew about the new materials we had to offer. Ellie, anything that you might have used chatbots for?
I've used one recently. I think somebody mentioned planning a trip. I
Mm-hmm.
used that recently. So I told them the dates that I was traveling and the cities that I wanted to visit. And they actually put together a schedule for me. Now, one thing that we'll talk about later on is chatbots aren't always the best. I think in the itinerary that they gave me, they were like, just take a 4 hour train ride to this city, have a 30-minute lunch, and then take another 4 hour train ride back. So you do need to read that information a little bit critically.
Yeah, for sure. It needs to make sense for you and your life, for sure. Doing a letter of reference. Why does it ask for a business email? Would you mind
This,
elaborating on that?
I believe this might be for natural reader.
Natural
Um,
reader. Okay.
they do have like a business and a personal um,
Mm-hmm.
accounts that you can create. If you're just going to use natural reader for day-to-day operations, like you just want it to read text for you, I would say personal email.
Yeah, yeah. I've always used personal email to access that as well. All right. Thanks, everybody, for your answers. And now I'm going to pass it back to Ellie to take us through some more information.
Thanks, Mansi. All right. So now that we've learned a little bit about AI technology, we're going to release another poll asking you how you feel about AI. So are you nervous? Are you excited? Really, no right or wrong answers. So I'm going to release that poll. There we go. So I'll give you a couple seconds here to answer the question. All right, I'm going to end the poll now. Most of us have gotten their answers in, so I'm going to share those results. So hopefully you can see them. So a lot of you said you're very cautious about it. You understand that there's benefits, but have some concerns. And I think that's a really smart way to look at AI technology. It's a very handy tool when used properly, but it does have some safety concerns involved, and you should be critical about using it. So let's talk about some of those concerns when it comes to AI technology. So chatbots are designed to make you feel like you're chatting with a real person. It's important to remember when you interact with chatbots that you're not talking with a person, though. You're communicating with a computer that will likely be saving the information that you share with it. So when you use the internet or smartphone for anything, there are things you should always keep in mind to help keep yourself safe. The same is true when you use a chatbot. Number one, avoid sharing personal information. And number two, AI can make mistakes. So your privacy is important. Most chatbots ask for and use your information. So you should always assume that what you share might be saved by the chatbot. So remember, don't ever share personal information such as your address, phone number, social insurance number, passwords, or banking information. Chatbots also use information from the internet to answer questions and perform tasks. It's possible the information that the chatbot provides isn't true, even if it sounds true. So if you use the chatbot to help make a decision or learn something new, always check that the advice it gave you is good advice or that the information is true. So we've gone ahead, we're going to pop another lesson plan into the chat box on how to spot fake news. But here's a funny example from ChatGPT that was recently floating around the internet. So just quickly, how many R's are in the word strawberry? How many R's? Yeah, so there are 3 R's in the word strawberry. But you can see here in the image I have, it says, there are 2 R characters in the word strawberry. The user said, check again, please. ChatGPT said, upon checking again, there are indeed 2 R characters in the word strawberry. The user said, are you 100% sure? Oh, ChatGPT said, yes, I am 100% sure. The word strawberry contains 2 R characters. So ChatGPT could not count the number of R's in the word strawberry. It was insistent that there were only 2 R's when in fact there were 3. All right. So we're now going to dive into an AI tool. This AI tool is called Pi AI. So this is a great tool for anyone who is new to using AI technology or even technology in general. So Pi stands for personal intelligence. It's a type of AI chatbot that's designed to have meaningful conversations with users. So Pi can do a lot of things. It can make a list of pet names, help plan for a trip, teach you a new language, create helpful habits, and a lot more. So let's try using it together. If you'd like, you can also try it on your own computer too. I'm going to share my screen once again. Make this bigger. All right. So is that big enough to read on your screen?
Yep.
Perfect. Okay. So Pi can be used with or without an account. So today we'll try using the platform without an account, and this is a free platform. So to get started, you're just going to click Next. And as we mentioned, Pi can help you do a lot of different things. Here are some examples on the screen of things it can do for you. So brainstorm ideas, plan a trip, write a story. We're just going to click on the next button to get to the next screen. So Pi will show you some other things it can do. So for now, we're just going to keep clicking Next. All right, so it's going to start by asking your name. You can use your real name, a fake name, or any name that you'd like. If you're using a shared computer, I'd recommend using a made-up name. I'm at home right now on my own personal computer, so I'm going to use my name. Ellie. Pi is going to type out its responses, and it can also say its responses out loud. So it's going to ask you to pick how you want your Pi voice to sound. So you can click on any of the options to hear what they sound like.
Hi, it's lovely to meet you. My name is Pi, and I'm your personal AI. How does this voice sound?
Sounds like a real person, doesn't it?
I'm quite knowledgeable about almost every topic that's been discovered. Go on, try and stump me.
So Pi 1, Pi 2, and Pi 3, they're the ones with the little stars. Those are the most popular voices. So make sure your speakers are on so you can hear it if you're doing this at home. Once you found a voice that you like, you can click choose voice.
Nice choice. Now you can hear me.
If you want
What
to
should we talk about first, Ellie?
She's even quite good at saying my name. If you'd like to mute the speaker, there is voice controls in the top right corner. So you can click on that if you'd like to mute them. To turn the speaker back on, just click that button again, and you'll hear their voice again. Okay, so now that we're all set up, we can start playing with Pi. So Pi will show you some conversation prompts or recommendations to choose from. These are popular topics that other people talk to Pi about. So they can just vent. Maybe they want to practice a big conversation, maybe writing the perfect email. So let's look around and maybe we can start by clicking on learn about something new. Just a heads up that you may see the options in a different order on your computer if you are doing this at home. So you're now going to be taken to the conversation page. There's a text box on the bottom of the screen. This is what you'll use to have your conversation with Pi. So you'll click inside the text box and let's ask it a question. So just open to the floor. What is something you want to learn about? Let me know in the chat box. How to cook pasta. Okay, let's see. Let's type that in. How to cook pasta. So Pi will write out a response, and if you want, you can listen to them tell it to you through their speaker. So if you're doing this at home and you are asking that question, you might actually get a different response from what I have here. AI chatbots try to respond like a human might, so they won't always give you the exact same response each time. Sometimes Pi will give you an answer that is difficult to understand. So you can ask Pi to give you a simpler explanation, or on the flip side, you can also ask Pi for more details if their answer is too simple. Okay, so let's see. Let's ask it, can you make these instructions easier? Sometimes it takes a minute for a Pi. It needs to think. So you can ask it different questions and you can ask it to elaborate, simplify, whatever makes sense to you. Okay. The response you get from Pi might look different from what you see here. AI chatbots are always learning and improving. The responses might even change over time. So if I ask the same question in a few weeks, it might be completely different. Maybe new pasta cooking technology appears in the next few weeks and that it'll update that. So we can try a new topic. So if we look on the left side here, we can scroll up and down to see a list of recommended prompts or topics from Pi. These suggestions will often change, and they are based on what Pi thinks you might be interested in and what other people are talking to Pi about. Or if we click on the Discover button here in this top left-hand corner, we can write out our own prompt like we did before. So we asked it how to cook pasta. Okay.
Ellie, we have an interesting question in the chat.
Yes.
What is the difference between using Pi and just Googling the question?
Yeah, it's a great answer. So Pi is a lot more conversational sounding, so it's a lot easier to kind of take in that information when it gives you its response. It can also do things, like I said, like summarizing it. It can simplify it. It can give you more details. And it kind of continues that conversation. So it'll remember my instructions in this screen. Okay, so I don't need to like retype my question each time I want to add an additional detail to it. So it is keeping a record of what I've asked. We will talk a little bit more about ChatGPT in a second, but one of the great things about Pi is because it has those pre-generated topics or prompts, you will be able to just kind of click on it. So if you have lower digital literacy skills or just lower literacy skills in general, this is a really easy way to kind of get your foot in the door with AI. All right. So if we go to Discover again, we can click on any of these like pre-generated prompts, or even if you just like can't think of something to say for that day and you just feel like learning something new, you can just click on these and it'll kind of generate a topic for you and you can learn more about it. So it'll even give you more prompts to dive deeper into that topic if you are interested. Okay. So we are running a little low on time and I do want to save time for questions. So I want you to remember, chatbots do save and share things you type, so it's best not to give any personal information to any chatbot. I'm going to go back to presenter view. All right. So there are many other AI tools available right now. Some are free, some are paid, some require login, and some don't. Each of the AI tools has their own advantages and drawbacks. So here are some examples of other AI tools available. So ChatGPT is a very popular one that you've probably heard about. This is one of the most familiar and powerful AI tools available. It has both a free and paid version. So with the free version, it allows users to type in a certain number of messages. Afterwards, users will have to wait a few hours before using it again. So the maximum allowed number of messages really differs depending on how busy the website is. For example, some users can only get 5 to 10 messages a day. I tried yesterday. I couldn't even get one message in because their servers were so busy. So just keeping that in mind. Copilot is another AI tool. Copilot is free and doesn't require a login. So one drawback is that it has a 2,000 character limit. So this means that you can't type in large messages or text. So typing large amounts of text is useful if you want to make a really specific request and you're adding all your details. So for example, if I wanted to write a book using AI, maybe I'll write out the character names, a brief description about them, the setting where I want the story to take place in, and a general outline about what happens. So with character limits, you might not be able to write all the details you want. So Adobe Firefly is another AI tool, but this one is specifically for generating images. So it's a free tool, but does require a login, okay? So Adobe Firefly can make the really wild and funny images basically anything that you type in, it'll try and create an image. So here's an example in a previous workshop. We actually challenged learners to try and recreate this image here. So the learners had to figure out what they should type into Adobe Firefly to get a similar image. And here are some of the results we got. So I love all the different styles and different interpretations of the picture that the learners came up with. So you can see that this AI tool is pretty different from what we've looked at Pi. And really all the AI tools are different from one another. So we do encourage you to explore a couple of them, see what works best for you, and see what you like. All right, so somehow that hour just flew by, or almost hour, but that's basically end of our workshop. So we hope you feel a little bit more comfortable with AI, understand how to use it safely, and give it a try yourself. We now have a bit of time for some questions. And while we're waiting for questions, we also have a survey to share on our end, and we'd really appreciate if you could take some time to do the survey for us. We'll pop the survey into the chat box. I'm getting them mixed up now. So simply click on the link and only answer the questions that you're comfortable answering. Your feedback is super important to us. So I'm just going to stop sharing my screen, and I know a couple of questions came by that I didn't get a chance to see. So let's stop sharing.
So there was just a question. Is there an AI tool that can take the content of an audio file recording, say of a story, and type it out for you Can you provide an email list of all the links? Oh, I will be providing a link to all the links that we're posting after. So can you take an audio file recording and say of a story, and will it type it for you? It's kind of like dictation, I
So
think.
I'm not sure about ChatGPT, but I know ChatGPT is able to take video file links and is able to summarize the content of it. I believe Copilot can also do that. So it's able to take video files. Now, I'm not entirely sure if it's able to do audio. And I think another program that we didn't talk about is Gemini. So this one is owned by Google. They're also able to take video files and summarize it. Mansi, do you know if they're able to do audio files?
Yeah, I'm not too sure about that. I've not come across that particular scenario, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's like a paid app for that can do that really, because there's so many AI apps being built off of these tools that are available for free. So people are really building a lot, and every day there's something new. So, a simple search might really land you on that such an app that can do that.
Yeah,
Um,
like I think I've played around with it was Gemini, where you can just copy and paste the link directly into the chat box and you hit enter and get to summarize, and it'll actually summarize that video for you. So I'm sure like an audio version of that exists somewhere.
Okay, great. Thank you. And I'm not sure if you answered this, but their question was, what about chat box that are on like TELUS and such? And I think maybe that's online. When they ask for your personal information to access your accounts, is that safe?
Like it really depends on what your comfort level is for different platforms. Like there are quite a few AI tools out there that don't require any personal information. So if you are not comfortable sharing that, I would highly recommend exploring those options instead. So for example, Copilot, which is owned by Bing, it's almost like a Google tool. Like it looks like their Google or Bing.com, like a search engine, and you can kind of just type your questions in or your prompts in without sharing any information about yourself. But you always play a risk online if you are like providing your phone numbers, your emails, your name. There's always some level of risk involved.
Okay, I'm just going to go to the chat box here. Just a reminder for people, if you put your questions in the Q&A box, we make sure that we don't miss it. It's hard to scroll through the chat box because there's so many great comments. So I'm just going to so one person, I think at the very beginning of your presentation, you talked about enterprise. I was just wondering if you could define that. I don't know what that was. I can't remember back in the presentation. Maybe we can come back to that.
Mentioning anything about
I can't remember. Maybe the star, if you could maybe
I
put that
think
in
that
the.
was part of my introduction.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's just a terminology that Microsoft uses to segment its clients. So these were the big ticket clients, which they called enterprise clients.
Okay. Thank you. What about if if you continuously clear your browser, does AI still remember you and what you've searched for?
So, Mansi, I don't know if you want to jump in for this question. So it depends if you're clearing your cookies or not. So for those of you who don't know, cookies are kind of like little pieces of information from your computer that gets embedded into whatever website, platform, online presence that you're using. And that cookie is like a little bit of information about yourself. So it kind of shares information about like other websites you've been, maybe things like what you should look for online. So if you're shopping for specific items, that'll be embedded into the cookie. So that information does get saved when you are using different platforms. So you might notice when you go on a website, it says accept all cookies to use this website or decline all cookies. So when you're accepting that, when you hit that accept button, it means that you are allowing that website to save some information about you. Now, what that information is really depends on each website, what kind of information that they're collecting. So if you are like clearing your history, you might also want to clear your cookies as well on your computer. I would highly recommend it to just do it periodically. If you want to learn more about cookies, we do have information about it. I can pop that into, we can try and hunt that down right now if we have a couple minutes. And so far as how to clear cookies, this really depends on like if you're using an Apple computer, if you're using a Microsoft computer, they kind of differ each time. I believe our lesson plan might go into a little bit of detail about how to clear your cookies. If not, if you go to a library, they usually are able to just, information staff are able to help you walk you through that as well.
Okay, thank you. You might have answered this already, but why would you use PI over ChatGPT? And I know you gave some comparisons, so I'm not sure if we've kind of covered that, but if you want to add a little bit more to that answer.
Yeah, I think it's just also like what you're looking for in a AI tool. So Pi AI is very much more of a conversational piece. It's just maybe you're looking for something new. Maybe you're looking for like you want to do an online quiz, and Pi AI can generate a quiz for you in a fun conversational way. Chat GPT is much more powerful as an AI tool. So people in like the digital world use it for higher level functions like coding, doing like Excel functions for them. So it really depends. Now, like I said, ChatGPT has a paid version and a free version. Either way, you still need to have a login. Pi AI, you don't need to have that login. So if you don't want to like create an account, Pi AI is a little bit more accessible.
That was actually
I
one of
just
my
have one
next
little thing
questions.
to add.
Oh, sorry, go ahead, Mansi.
Sorry. Yeah, I've just heard some people say that Pi AI is more empathetic. It has, yes, it is more conversational and it also has a lot of prompts to get you started. So if you're new to using AI, Pi can really be a good starting point over ChatGPT.
Great.
That isn't to say you can't use like one or the other. Like, feel free to explore both, see kind of what works for you. Like,
I guess my question was around, you talked about the paid version, and that was one of my questions I had written down was, is there a benefit of paying for a subscription to an AI like ChatGPT over just a free version? Is there more security or protection if you buy a subscription versus just a public forum?
It's a great question. In terms of security, I'm not actually entirely sure if the paid version provides more safety nets for the platform. Um, some organizations find it really helpful to have the paid version just because they don't have the limits on how many prompts you can ask it. You can access it at any time. It's hard to gauge like what your needs are as a literacy organization. At the moment, I haven't found like for myself the free version takes me pretty far in my day to day, but
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I've never found myself reaching out for the paid version. So it has really done well for my needs. The free version has, yeah.
That's good to know. Is there any other questions that anybody else has? I do have a few final slides to show. I can get back to the screen. I don't know if it's showing up. Oh, there it is. there was one last question before we kind of wrap up because we're almost getting to 2 o'clock. Um, One of the questions was around some apps prevent you from screenshots. And is there a way that they do, or how do they do that? Is there a way of getting around that so you can take screenshots of particular files or on your computer? I don't know about that. I haven't encountered that issue.
Do you
Anybody?
think that would be a good question to ask AI, Ellie?
There you go.
Something we could ask and see like what it generates because I'm honestly not even
Yeah,
sure
because
how.
I do not know the solution to this.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that either. Somebody was asking also about gaming. So if you're playing like online games like Scrabble or something where you're interacting, is that AI generated because you're playing against a computer, so called? So I'm assuming that might be AI generated, or is that something else?
Yeah, that is a type of AI technology right there. That's a
Okay.
great example.
Excellent. Well, thank you both for your excellent presentation. And there was lots of nice comments in the chat box about how much people have learned. Just as a reminder, the recording and the PowerPoint will be online for people to go back and look at because there was a lot of good examples and technology that we can go and test. So, and sometimes it takes a couple times to listen and review before it kind of sinks in. So that will be available. On our EAPO website, we do have some resources about cybersecurity and some information, but we're also doing some more webinars in addition to this one around AI and some and financial literacy. So we're doing one on basic banking that's coming up with ABC Life Literacy Canada. That's coming up on November 27th. So some understanding about banking. Things have changed in technology world. So again, we're so privileged to collaborate again with this organization to do that. Also, in the AI area and cybersecurity, we're hosting 2 more sessions. One on how to be unhackable, learning about how scammers um, learn to think like a scammer to improve your cybersecurity skills, which I think will be extremely important in this day and age. So you can register for that on the 19th. And then the other one is on ChatGPT. So getting really involved into that actual ChatGPT forum, looking at how we navigate the digital conversation. So we know that this has been an area that people are asking about. So we're trying our best to bring that information and education to everybody. So again, you can access our information at EAPO. I'm just going to put some of the links to join those webinars in the chat box as we speak before everybody logs off. So we have a website. You can look for resources on our website as well. You can give us a phone call. We have a 1-833 number for people to call toll free as well if they need support. And we're also on social media as everyone, trying to get the word out and our messaging. So thank you all for participating today. It was great engagement. Chat box was very busy. And I apologize for those who are somewhere having some difficulty logging in today. But we will post this on our website. And thank you to our ASL interpreters, as always, bringing this to our larger audiences. So thank you all again, and we'll stay tuned and hopefully you'll be able to join our future presentations and education sessions. Thank you.